Good morning, happy Wednesday, Mayday, Mayday. This is SimWorld today. I'm Marsh, joined this morning by Siege. Good morning, Siege. How are we?
Good morning, March. We're doing wonderful on this hump day.
We have a loaded schedule today. We're talking some SWBA. We've got a special SimWorld Prep guest to wrap things up after what was a very active day in SimWorld Prep. But we're going to go to where the New York Knicks were 17 seconds and one Tyrese Maxey flurry away from advancing to the Eastern Conference semifinals. But Maxey buries a shot from the double New York logo to force overtime. The Sixers hang on from there. This was the Tyrese Maxey game. 112-106. Sixers stay alive, Siege, to force a game 6 and head back to Philadelphia, where they hope to not be infiltrated again by New York Knicks fans.
Yeah, I mean, this series is shaped up to be really, really a fun one. Tyrese Maxey is another one of those Kentucky guards, product of, I want to say Coach Cal coaching, but I guess really just a product of Coach Cal recruiting, who turned out really good because I don't know how much coaching he does. But Tyrese Maxey, he can do a little bit of everything. Athletic, he's not a huge guard for what we see today, but he can shoot. He's athletic, and he clearly is made for these kind of moments. He's made for the bright lights. He's built for this, especially against, a franchise in the Knicks that has, the kind of shine that they do, having the kind of season they are. Tyrese Maxey is still not afraid to take over. And he's might be the running mate that Joel Embiid needed to make any kind of run.
Well, they needed something, and I thought Embiid, you're going to look at his stats, 7-19. I actually thought he played pretty good. There's times, obviously, in the fourth quarter where he looked slow, but plus 14 in a game they won by 6. This has been a consistent threat or a trend for the Sixers. They play what to say what you want about his health, about his endurance, about his fitness level. The Sixers are a better basketball team. No surprise here with him on the floor than without him, and they're just better than everyone they play. That's not just in general. But they needed something from Maxey, and Maxey looked a little hesitant at times in their game 4 loss. He's a young player that just showed up on the biggest of stages, and you have a game like that. You hit the game-tying three-pointer with 3 seconds left from 35 feet, 40 feet. You're going to start feeling the confidence of being able to rise up and perform in these types of games. So honestly, whatever happens with the rest of this series, I think the Sixers getting a big night like that from Tyrese Maxey, toe-to-toe, outplaying All-NBA point guard Jalen Brunson, All-SWBA center Joel Embiid, being able to be that guy, I think that's a monumental moment in the trend of Tyrese Maxey, because you're right, they found the number 2, and I think we knew they found the number 2. I think we always kind of had that understanding, but they got a huge performance out of him. I think this was also a game where they got a really nice performance out of Tobias Harris for the first time in forever. 19 points, 7 of 11. He was more aggressive than we've seen him in the past. This is a big win for the Sixers, but a huge missed opportunity for New York, because now you're going on the road. Anything can happen in a playoff game, and it's the same thing with the Bucks and the Pacers. When you don't take care of business and you let this series go to a game 6, it gets very, very dangerous, because a win there and you're back home for an elimination game in game 7. This is a big moment for the Knicks to not be able to get it. Meanwhile, over in more East Coast action, much needed win, great fourth quarter from the Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell. They hold off a spunky Orlando Magic team that heads back to Orlando. Home teams are now undefeated still in that series. 3-2 Cavs. What are your takeaway there from a Cleveland win?
I like the word you've used to describe the Magic, spunky. I think that's fitting. I think this is another great series. I didn't know if it was going to be. The Magic have no playoff experience. This team is very young, like a lot of teams in the playoffs are. But you got to really like some of the things they do. They've got their kind of duo, their young stars in Paolo and Franz. Yesterday, the Cavs were just a little too much for him. Like you said, great fourth quarter. They've been there before. Donovan Mitchell did his thing. But I like this Magic team, and I think they still have a chance to come out with a win, I think it's going to take a lot, and I think it's going to take a lot on the defensive end from their stalwarts. And Jalen Suggs, great perimeter defender, but trying to guard Donovan Mitchell all game is not an easy task. And then you got Jonathan Isaac, who I think is the top 5 defender in the league. But again, only 2 defenders can only do so much. It's got to be a little bit more of a team effort. But I like this Magic roster. I like what they're doing. Like you said, they're spunky. They're not going to go down easy. So I'm excited to see the rest of this one.
My one gripe with this Magic team was they were in this thing. I mean, obviously they led at parts. They rallied back from being down 10 early to have a chance to tie this thing late. They led late in this one as well. They got away with Mitchell going mute in the third quarter. My one problem here, fourth quarter, 18 seconds left, and you've got the ball in Franz Wagner's hands instead of Paolo Banchero. I mean, Paolo 39, 14 to 24. He hits that three-pointer at the end that makes it a one-point game. That's the one thing that I had an issue with. This game on the line, and Franz has the ball in his hands. He ends up getting blocked, a phenomenal block by Evan Mobley. But that's got to go to Paolo. I mean, Paolo is, if you want to talk about Tyrese Maxey showing he can be the guy. Paolo in year 2? We've been infatuated with Wemby, with Chet. Paolo's that guy, Siege. He is incredible.
Yeah, Paolo's he can do it all. I remember towards the end of his rookie season, you would hear people say he plays like someone. When you watch him play, it reminds you of someone. But it's a little too early to start drawing any kind of comparison to that man. But he really does. He kind of reminds you of, in terms of the style of play, of LeBron James, the way he's so strong, he can take him to the cup. He can already shoot a little better than LeBron could. And no, I'm not comparing him to LeBron in terms of he's going to have that kind of career, but the style of play, the style of being able to take over and do a little bit of everything, he's got the size, the athleticism for it. And he obviously has that, ability to step up. Franz Wagner, I don't know why the ball was in his hands last night. Like you said, Paolo with 39, but Franz does have those games where he is their primary scorer. So it's nice they have that little duo, but I agree. Last night, it was the Paolo show, and it should have ended with Paolo.
Yeah, I'm not saying Franz can't get rolling. It's more a matter of, in the moment, let Paolo cook. And Maestro and I were talking about it during the broadcast last night about mid-range. Paolo's got a mid-range bag, and for a guy that's 6'9", 220 pounds at 20 years old, he went 4-7 last night. He's not a three from deep. He's not a three-point shooter, but if he's got the attacking downhill, which he does, and he continues to hit mid-rangers, which last night he hit a ton of them, he's going to be a problem. And the Magic, if they can just add consistent shooting to that roster this offseason, they're going to be a very, very dangerous team in a growing Eastern Conference. Headed to SimWorld Prep, as we are going to bring in our guest here, the one, the only, head coach Brayden Berry with Cascadia, fresh off a second win under his watch last night. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing today?
We're doing great. I mean, clearly not as good as you. You guys pick up a huge win. I mean, the score looks a little bit closer than it was thanks to a huge fourth quarter from Best Coast. But you guys are rolling. Big night from your 3 big stars last night. What's been going right in your time in Cascadia?
It's like, well, as you guys already know, like being an assistant and moving over to the head coach role, like I knew a lot of guys. I had a lot of potential and just waiting to showcase themselves offensively. I wanted to bring them out. I know people expected me to do one thing, whether it be KJ or Daniel. I wanted to bring Tyree out, and again for the second time, look what happened. You put people in the right position, and stuff blows up.
And Coach, you mentioned Daniel, KJ Daniel, but it's interesting. Before you took over the helm, Daniel Irvin, he had a couple flashes here and there, but his usage wasn't quite as high, and he wasn't quite putting out that production that we've seen from him in the recent 2 games since you took over. What can you say about Daniel and his playmaking, his scoring? What can you say about the kid?
Daniel is he's driven. He's committed. Like when I took over the helm, I was like, me and Daniel, we we talk a lot. We talk a lot. Like he's constantly texting me in the morning, checking on me, whether he wants to be included in the game planning. So I like that in players. Remember, I told you guys I'm a player first coach always. When it comes to Daniel, just watch out. Not just this season, but next season. Daniel's a special player.
Coach, obviously, you took over under challenging circumstances with everything going on with previous head coach Isaiah Pope and everything in the gambling related allegations, and ultimately that led to the dismissal of a couple folks in SimWorld Prep. So I'm curious, what was your approach to coming into this team? You mentioned you were an assistant coach already, but trying to right the ship and get everybody on board and kind of navigate what's obviously very difficult waters.
Oh, the first thing I did when I came into the locker room. I told the guys, I said, listen, what's done is done. Let's get past it. We got a great record. We're off to a great year so far. Let's finish this year on top. It's in the past. Let's look behind us and keep moving forward, straight ahead, always.
And Coach, obviously, you got quite a slew of talent on this team. Kevon Jackson, you mentioned you wanted to bring Tyree Wells out. Insanely talented young player. Daniel, Jason Holbrook. The list goes on. What has it been like, having the liaison for these kids, for coaches from, SimWorld U looking to recruit these guys?
Oh man, I was like, definitely from SimWorld U. I want them to be able just to don't count us out just yet. I was like, I know I'm still got the reins as a head coach. Don't count us out yet. Look at us. Look at everybody as a whole. I didn't mention Draco. Watch out for Draco too. Draco's also he's another special one. He had a couple of flashes last night as well. Just watch out, world, because Cascadia, we coming.
Coach, one last for you. You got 4 games left on the docket. You got a 2.5 game edge over reigning Trays as you try to lock up the top seed in the NEO region. What's the mentality here and the message to the team to close out the regular season?
Definitely, I guess as soon as that game ended last night, I told the guys I told them go out, celebrate, play your Xbox, PlayStation. But to this morning, I'm on the way to go meet up with Daniel as we speak. Meet me in the gym. One game at a time. So right now we know we got a game tonight. We're focused on tonight, one game at a time. We're not looking at we're in it one game at a time, one step at a time, and we will be there.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate you joining us. Best of luck this season and to the race to 1.
All right, you as well. Thank you so much.
All right, a big SimWorld Prep night. We mentioned it. We'll kick that off. Noon game. Beasts of the East head to South America. They get a 68-54 win. They're 19th of the season. Tyree Moy, 17 points. Levin Cutler, 15-7 for Beasts of the East, stymieing an upstart South America squad.
SimWorld Africa traveled to take on Gotham 5. Gotham 5 struggling this year, but so SimWorld Africa. Ethan Letterman Jr., 24 points on the day, but it wasn't quite enough to take down Gotham 5, who really got going through Michelle Williams.
Monte Parsons, 32 points, helps Philadelphia survive overtime against Bad Boys, 78-72. Their 19th win of the season as well.
Southeast Select gets their 7th win in a row, 82-71 over the Yacht Club. Gabe Pope, 17-5-5 in this one.
21 first half points from Kai Killens on his way to 28 in a full 32-minute outing. Avery Cooks with 24. Gulf Coast wins this one 81-73 over Indy.
Cascadia gets a win under Coach Brayden Berry. Tyree Wells, 20 points, 5 rebounds. If it wasn't for a 27-point fourth quarter, this score would not have looked as pretty. Cascadia wins 83-72.
Atlantis, they keep the show rolling over Showtime. Kenneth Klum, 19 points, 11 rebounds from Keontae Smythe, along with 4 blocks. 75-66. Atlantis, 17-11 now.
Short-handed Bay Area Breakers get another win. They're now 500 since they've trimmed the roster down to 6 players over Heartland Zombie Stars, a once prominent team Now struggling to get wins. Benari James struggling with only 14 points in this one. Adonis Knight, 18.
Siege, we bumped over real quick. I'll pivot to you. Bucks just moved to 3-2 in their series with a dominant home win over the Pacers. They coming all the way back?
First NBA team in history to win a playoff game without their top 2 leading scorers from the regular season. I'll say.
Oh, yeah, it's
Chris
because you got
Middleton,
Bobby Portis.
and Bobby Portis.
Yeah,
Bobby's that
the
guy.
all SWBA Bobby Portis.
Bobby's that guy.
Let him, if he hadn't gotten ejected, they're in Game 4. We're talking about a whole different series. The duality of Bobby Portis.
I got a shirt. It just says Bobby on it. All the way down here.
All right, that's our show. We'll be back tomorrow morning to recap some more SimWorld prep action. Of course, we're also back with SWBA postseason hoops. 3 games on the docket this Wednesday. Gotham 5, Philadelphia at 7. Asia Pacific Indy Stripes back on TV, or the Stripes at 8. And then Cascadia back in at 9 o'clock against Rocky Mountain. A big tilt in the Neo region as Rocky Mountain looks to keep their hot streak going. 4 of the last 5 they've picked up as W's. Thank you to Siege for joining us. This has been our show. As we said, we're back tomorrow here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation